Good morning, chat.
Good morning.
Hello. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It's the F1 theme, but Slap House. That's what it's labeled as.
That's beautiful.
Fuck yeah, yap time. Let's go, baby.
Yep.
Hello, everyone.
We're
Elizabeth,
back.
how was your time off away from us?
It was lovely. Chris and I celebrated our birth anniversary.
I like that.
We went to the mall and then we went to Olive Garden because he's never been. And I was like, what better time to eat a ton of pasta and breadsticks than your birth anniversary? And
Agree.
so we did, and it was lovely. And then we hung out at home, played with the cats. It was a good vibe. Very good vibe.
Do you know the Olive Garden motto slogan? That's what I'm looking for.
When you're here, your family.
Chat, do you know the Olive Garden? So that's what I said when someone asked me that question. Turns out they changed it in 2012 to Go Olive Garden.
What?
That's what I also said. It's like,
What?
that's a terrible slogan.
Is this a sports team?
I think it's like
Go Olive Garden.
I think it's supposed to be go OG because it's like go like OG like go like same forwards and backwards. How fun.
In 2012, I've made it this far without ever hearing this.
Oh, this is not an April Fool's joke. Sorry, this is 100%. Yeah, I don't really do April Fools unless it's like really.
I hate
don't know.
April Fools,
Not a fan.
and my husband, Mr. Moderator, has said that if you make a joke and it's terrible, you're gonna get banned.
Yeah, I feel like
So
Elizabeth and I have to warn you about guys Chap in the chat. If Chap finds out you guys are doing April Fool's joke, he said he will ban you. He is like 100% serious. He will
yeah,
time you guys
he's
out.
not messing around.
Not messing around. But yeah, it's the new tagline is go. Oh, is it go to Olive Garden? That's still stupid.
Go to Olive Garden.
Whichever one it is just.
I
dumb.
don't want you to tell me that. I don't want you to command me to go eat there.
Go to Olive Garden.
I
Where's
just
Rachel?
I want to have fun.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I like when we hear our family. You feel like you're in a South Tuscan home.
Yeah,
In your family.
good stuff.
My Nona also gives me unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Oh, that's cute.
That's kidding. She's Polish. She just feeds me pierogi.
I mean, pierogies also. Unlimited pierogi, I feel like, has got to be my dream.
My dad tells a fun story when he first started dating my mom, and he went over for like dinner to meet the parents. You know, even though they lived a fucking block away, there's no way they hadn't
Yeah.
met each other before in the small ass town that they lived in. He didn't want to be like, you don't want to be rude to Polish people. I feel like a lot of people from other countries understand that. Like, you don't deny food given to you. So she's like, would you like some more? So he had like 12 pierogi. My dad's 6'3", right? So he's like, yeah, I'll take another 12, no problem. But like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't stop saying no, and she wouldn't stop offering it. So I think at the end he had like 100 something pierogi.
Oh my god.
She apparently then when he told that story finally, she's like, oh my god, I was taking pierogies out of the freezer because like you were hungry and I couldn't leave. Like, I'd be a terrible host if you left hungry and your mom would hate me. So like, I had to make sure you were fed and you kept saying yes. So I like took pierogi out of the freezer.
Oh no. Oh, he's got a little pierogi baby.
He's just a little pierogi baby. Now I want pierogi. All right, chat, we're going on a field trip. We're getting pierogi. Everyone, let's go. Dad goated. Dad was hungry. Forgot being an
Hangry.
eepy little guy. He was a hungry little guy. He's like, I want to impress you by all the pierogi I eat. That's actually a Polish mating ritual. You have to eat a lot of pierogi.
I was
Ugh.
gonna say that seems like a really good way to like prove your quality to a Polish family. You ate 100 pierogi on the first, like met the parents, ate 100 pierogi. They're like, yeah, you're in.
Next pod will be live from Olive Garden, the one in Times Square specifically. I love that
That'd be
one.
Fun.
That
I've
one's
never
so-
been to that one.
That one's so interesting to me. At that point, you become a pierogi. Secret ingredient, thank you so much for the 37 months. Multi-37, please, Ash. What is that? What's a multi-37?
Multi 21, but 37.
God, okay, how do we make a 21 worse to a 37? Blow up the stream. I've never been to the Olive Garden.
You've never been out. Neither had Chris. That's why we went. When it's your birthday, I'll take you.
Her birthday was yesterday.
What? Oh my God. You got to wait 364 days. Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday, H-Cats. Okay, if you didn't go to an Olive Garden, what chain restaurant, if you're an American, I don't know what the chain restaurants are in other countries. I guess maybe you can tell me and we can educate ourselves. What chain restaurant did you go to? I've been to Olive Garden. We didn't go to Applebee's. We weren't an Applebee's family. Sometimes we went to Red Lobster because I just really like seafood. And if like we were just driving and like whatever, not that it's sometimes seafood.
Rod Lobster.
Asterisks. Red Lobster, Olive Garden.
Been to Chili's?
I've been to a Chili's. College. It's fine.
Chili's.
Applebee's is fine. We love an Outback.
Outback. We went to Texas Roadhouse on like a Christmas family dinner earlier this year, late last year. Shit was good.
What's up, Chandi? Thank you so much for the 37 months. Mr. Chandi says, Ash, I sent your IG post to Marty Smith, so you should be hired soon to ESPN. Do you know Marty Smith? Yes, I am well aware. Because not only do I watch college football, he's also was a NASCAR commentator / his friends with like the NASCAR homies. So he like appears on podcast. Oh, I don't personally know him. No, that'd be.
Know of him.
I know of him. I don't personally know Marty Smith. I'm sure he's in where are these people based? If you work for ESPN, I think you got to be based in like Bristol, Connecticut, where their headquarters is.
Yeah. Yeah. I applied for a job at ESPN and they were like, you have to move to Bristol, Connecticut. And I was like, I'm working with people who work from home in England. So why do I have to move to Bristol, Connecticut to work with people who work at home? And they were like, I don't know, that's just how it has to go. And then they never hired anyone because I think moving to Bristol, Connecticut to cover Formula One, is maybe the stupidest possible thing you
Damn,
can do.
I want everyone to know because my brother and my 2 nephews live in Connecticut. I will literally move to Connecticut to be closer to them and hang out. No problem. Done. Someone call ESPN right fucking now. HCats did delete this question from Ray, but I'm going to ask Ash, if your dad is 6'3", why are you 4'5"? For the record, I'm 5'3". And
Me too. Oh, twins.
So go away. I applied to a job with NASCAR that would have been in Florida. Yeah, you would have been Daytona Beach, right? Like where their IMSA / NASCAR other stuff headquarters is. Did you see that article? Gosh, was it an article or a tweet? It had. Did you write this? There was a thing about IndyCar having a problem hiring people because people don't want to move to Indianapolis. And I was like, that's very real. Yes,
I think
that
I
was me.
probably mentioned it because I also. IndyCar was like, I applied for a job and they were like, yeah, we'd absolutely hire you. You have to move to Indy. And I was like, no.
That's exactly what happened to me. I had a panel interview with them and they're like, did you want to move to Indianapolis, by the way? And I was like,
no, I'm good.
Sorry. I rather not. That was the same thing with me. And it's this same issue with IMSA for Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
People based there. And I'm like, I don't think
Daytona Beach is
fine.
The butthole of the world.
Just Daytona Beach of the whole entire world.
Of the whole world, Daytona Beach.
Elizabeth Blackstock has circumnavigated the entire globe, and she has decided that
seen
Daytona
it all.
Beach.
I've been to. If only I'd been to the Arctic Circle. Yeah.
I applied to jobs in Charlotte just so that I could actually move there, but actually having been to Charlotte a few times and being slightly disillusioned, I kind of backed out. I really like where I specifically live in Charlotte because it is walkable. If we didn't find a walkable area in Charlotte, I think we would have moved at the end of our lease this year, but we're renewing it again.
Nice.
But if ESPN wants to move me to Bristol, that's totally fine. To be fair, she did say Monaco is the Tampa of Europe. Yeah, that's
Monaco is the Tampa of Europe. If you've ever been to Monaco and to the harbor, you know it is the Tampa of Europe. It's just terrible.
My parents have been. I'll ask them. Be like, this is like a Tampa. Like if you close your eyes and didn't know.
If you're at the harbor part, like where the fucking Formula One podium is right next to its like sushi chain.
You know,
there's a Steak and Shake down the road. That's insane. Like,
did you see that article of the guy who thought he was going? God, he thought he was going to Minnesota, and he ended up in Mongolia, or he thought,
that's so funny.
He thought he was in a U.S. state, and he was in Mongolia. And I was like, my brother in Christ,
how do you fuck up that bad?
They have to check your passport. This was like an actual thing. This is not an April Fool's joke.
Man. I would
Nebraska.
Love to go to Mongolia.
Sorry, whatever. That's natural selection. Leave him there. That's what I'm saying, Chandi. Sorry, it was Nebraska, which makes it any better.
Yikes!
You don't think he was suspicious?
How does that happen?
I can't read any of these signs. What kind of language they got going here in Nebraska? Damn, this population's changed. Nebraska's just our Mongolia.
What a mess.
What a mess. Okay, everyone, to start off today's motorsports discussion podcast, I'd like to do a dramatic reading of a comment Elizabeth has received on the Planet F1's YouTube channel, if that's correct. Or is it the website?
The F1 word.
This, I'm assuming, is a gentleman?
Yeah, I think so.
Giselle writes, no. Once you stray away from the originality of the channel, that works. You'll end up losing subscribers. Don't like the voice. Sounds a fake American computer accent. I'm not a big fan of listening to women talk about F1, especially on this channel. They've ruined football with the same stuff. Who wants her women talking about football? Shame. If this is the new norm, I'm out. The end.
Yeah. Thanks, son.
All mistakes I made were exactly how they were typed. He
Yeah,
said listing instead of listening.
Listening to women.
Sounds a fake American accent because he said sounds like a fake American accent.
There were several comments on that video that was like, is this an AI voice? And I was like, no, I think I'm just a little autistic. I'm sorry. I just talk like that.
So when men comment this stuff, it's like, one, you just don't like women in general, like in anywhere. And I'm confused. Do you never interact with a woman in your entire life?
Like ever? Like have you never had a conversation with a woman about something like football or Formula One? Like these people like it. They watch it. The thing, I think it blows my mind. So I do some stuff like maybe once or twice or three times a month for the F1 word, because the F1 word got kind of picked up by Planet F1. So sometimes when I like write an evergreen story, my boss is like, "Hey, that'd be a good script if you want to, do a video." And I was like, "Fuck it, I don't care." So yeah, it's not like I'm there all the time. I'm like there as a filler to help out sometimes and like provide some extras. So this guy was so mad about it. I was like, all right, cool. Sounds like a plan.
I don't know. What's the originality of this channel? What was it before? Wasn't it the same thing?
It was the F1 word. It's a British dude talking about motorsport. So it's now an American.
It is straight up just a woman.
It is literally that it is me.
Then he says they've ruined football with the same stuff. Who wants to her woman talk about football?
My woman.
It's just, I can't.
It's so funny because I used to get these comments all the time on Jalopnik when I first started. So like 2017, 2018. And people like just hated it. They hated that there was a woman working there, hated that a woman was talking about cars. And it's been a while since I've gotten one of these. Like I was like kind of almost pleasantly shocked. Not pleasantly, but like I just got a kick out of it. I was like, man, it's been so long since someone has decided that they needed to say that women suck. I thought we'd moved on as a society, but apparently not.
Who wants to hear women talk about football? Shame if this is the new norm. Women have been talking about sports for decades already. Dude, just blow out your eardrums then. I don't fucking care. Like, I'm over this. Just get out of here.
Fucking insane.
Just fucking insane. I hate all of it. Men just hate women. That's something I've established.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit off the pod, but essentially the comments you have to moderate sometimes that you get
from my God.
Planet F1 and shit that you see.
It's bad news bears. I wrote about it a little bit last week on my DPTJ Substack about the comments I had to moderate about Lewis Hamilton and then like the specifically regarding like the radio messages that got broadcast in Japan and not fully broadcast, like only certain parts of it did, so it created this narrative that Lewis is a bad team player.
Yeah.
And so everyone, like all of these people, so racist, so rude. There are people who comment on my stuff and are like, why is this woman talking about X, Y, and Z? Why is this American talking about this? Like, because I'm cool. That's why. Because I fucking care about this stuff.
Yeah, I love when they don't point out anything wrong that you've said. It's just that you're either one in a woman or have an American accent. It's not like you said anything wrong. It's just they're like, oh God. Ugh.
Yeah. No,
I hate this.
Just don't like them.
Just don't like them. Shall we go through our rapid fire news right now?
Let's do it. We got a slightly sad one up first. Eddie Jordan, the former founder of Jordan Grand Prix and a longtime F1 analyst, passed away at age 76 of cancer. Very sad. A lot of nice tributes to him that kind of came out.
I think he was just like a big personality. It's nice when people like you. You actually get tributes that like have emotion in them, and I feel like when you do a tribute to someone you genuinely liked that actually had a huge impact, that I mean, not even you liked, that everyone in the paddock
Yeah.
liked and loved, and
Yeah.
he just loved motorsports so much. Um, the
Mm-hmm.
tributes, like all of them, I think I teared up at every single one because I was like,
Yeah.
this is good storytelling, this is good emotion, this is good. Like they were, I said, a cheesy this family essentially traveling
Yeah.
around so often, so it was really really nice to see.
Yeah. It's sad as tough. But it's fuck cancer. That's all I gotta say.
He looked like he was a solid drummer too. Yeah, he had a good. He knew how to have a good time and just make everyone
He
smile in the paddock and things like that.
he knew how to live the life.
He was just shit stir, but one of the good ones at it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we love Eddie.
Yes. The kind of shit stir that you just
Yeah,
have to respect.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, not the ones
That's
you are not gonna know good things about at their tribute. he was
exactly.
he left a
He
lasting legacy and stuff like that. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's it's rough. I wonder if they'll do something in Japan or
I
honor him
think they
and stuff.
probably will. I think
That'd
they've
be nice.
talked about maybe like a moment of silence or like a moment of recognition on the grid beforehand.
That'd be really nice.
And I know that Aston Martin raced in China with tributes to him.
Okay.
So there was some already, which was nice. They probably do something more formal.
Yeah.
Um, Also on our news roundup, Andretti and Prema were both penalized after thermal. So the number 83 Prema of Robert Schwartzman lit on fire in practice. The I don't think it was the cause of the fire, but IndyCar investigated this afterward and discovered that the fire safety pull cable they had was out of compliance. So I believe this is the thing you can pull that extinguishes cockpit fires. Um, so he got fined, I believe, $10,000 for that. And the number 26 Andretti of Colton Herta got fined 10 entrant points and $25,000 for chassis assembly penalties. So they put the car together wrong. Um, Interesting. Colton Herta moment. That boy just can't win.
Not getting those super license points.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I did a whole thing on that of how he can get his super license points, and if he doesn't place in the top 10 in IndyCar this year, he could still theoretically get a super license if he goes and does 9 free practice sessions. But I can't think of I can't think of a single team that would let him do that because that's a lot. Like I could see if he gets like we just need 2 sessions and he'll be good. I can see the like Cadillac finagling something maybe with a Ferrari engine team, but 9, I was like, that's just too much.
Nathaniel says Colton Herta, more like Colton Hurton. Am I right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was so
That
bad that it
Colton
was
Hurt
good,
is.
and I appreciate that pun.
Yep. That was a good one.
Oh yeah, we talked a little bit about this last week, but now that Elizabeth, the professional's here, we want to talk about it again. That IndyCar saw a 50% viewer decrease at thermal, thanks to NASCAR.
Yes. So there was the clash of the two that they both started at the exact same time. I think it was 3 p.m. Eastern. IndyCar got 704,000 viewers, which is down compared to the 788,000 that Thermal got last year, and way frickin' down compared to the 1.4 million they got for St. Pete. Fox said the head-to-head is unavoidable when IndyCar is on the West Coast, and a representative was quoted saying, when IndyCar is on the West Coast, going head-to-head with NASCAR is unavoidable because we can't start the IndyCar race at 9 a.m. Pacific time or 12 p.m. Eastern. In quote, in parentheses, too early out there. Before NASCAR, in parentheses, at 3 p.m. Eastern. We cannot air IndyCar on Sunday nights in the spring because of Fox Entertainment programs airing in prime time. So that's a whole thing, I guess. So they're not going to move NASCAR. NASCAR is just going to stay where NASCAR is, and then IndyCar, I guess, has to slot in and around it. So that's cool. But I think also worth noting the Chinese Grand Prix at ass o'clock, exactly 12 hours before the IndyCar race started, got over 800,000 viewers. So it got way more than IndyCar, which is folks were up at 2 a.m. to watch race car.
I think there was a Fox or IndyCar. There was some executive who tweeted, and they said that that stats kind of an asterisk because he's like, that
Yeah,
also counts DVR recordings.
I guess.
And I
Yeah.
was like, but still, people would rather have DVR'd
Yeah.
the 3 a.m. race and watch it the next day than watch it live
You.
IndyCar at noon when they were awake. I don't understand how that makes your point any better. And of note as well, there was a bowling competition, some kind of bowling national comp. I don't bowl. Go Bowling could sue me. That got more views than the IndyCar race.
Patty 1545 asks, how come Herta seems to be the only IndyCar driver that fans see is capable to join F1? The whole thing basically with Colton Herta was when the Cadillac entry came in, it was the Andretti entry. So they looked at the Andretti team that is in IndyCar and said, which American on this team can come to Formula One? The answer was Colton Herta, just because Colton Herta. I think Mario Andretti put his name in the ring as well. So there was talk for that about why he would join Cadillac. I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. I know that um, Cadillac has said they'd like an American driver, but I think they've been backing off on that a little bit because they're like, if they're qualified, um, Colton Hurd is just like in the good age range of a driver for Formula One, where he's early 20s still. A lot of the other drivers are bordering on older. If you
Yeah.
sent Joseph Newgarden over there, like he's ancient.
Colton is kind of ancient
Yeah.
for
I
like
mean, yeah,
F1 standards.
he's
I was
been
like,
here for
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
ever, and he's like 24 years old,
Yeah.
which is insane.
It's like F1 standards, like he's not, but also like he is.
Yeah.
We do have a
So
question.
sorry, heard his name gets
Yeah.
thrown in there. It's not that there are no other IndyCar drivers. It's that we're talking about the American drivers. So like Alex Palou would be a good choice. Pato Award would probably be a great choice. But those two, they're not from America, so that's why we end up with this
And now
Colton Herta.
America, like the Americas.
Yeah, I
So
think I think
I think
Pato would be a good
so.
choice,
Pato, I hear his
honestly.
name get thrown around a lot because of Mexico, but now the whole Sergio Perez thing coming back into
Yeah,
fruition because of his popularity in.
yeah.
So Dodge MF1 also asked about the viewership numbers, and they mentioned about is that an F1 TV, assuming it's available in the U.S. So F1 TV is available in the U.S. Though I wrote it's those numbers aren't shared, and I don't know how many people watch on
Yeah.
F1 TV, and I want to ask you, Elizabeth, if like journalists get any insight, or they send you anything about F1 TV numbers?
If we get any, I have never seen it. I don't think I have any idea how many people use it.
Yeah. So in the stats that we just shared with you, F1 TV is not included because those don't get published anywhere, and those are just like raw broadcast like Nelson rating numbers, wherever they pull that from
Yeah.
publicly available information. F1 TV would probably also do a lot of viewership, but still, even if a good chunk of F1 viewership watched on F1 TV, it still means that even with that chunk, IndyCar was like IndyCar, like they still surpassed it at 3 a.m. DVR network stuff over IndyCar.
Yeah. That's just crazy. It's just crazy.
It's the. Do you think it's a? Are these the things that we talk about? Are they symptoms? Is it the break in the calendar? Is it because what did such a dramatic drop of?
So I have several theories about this because I had people, I posted about what makes a good broadcast and how Fox was not kind of
Right,
living up to that after the first race.
still
And a bunch of
has.
people who reached out to say, this is my first IndyCar race, and I was extremely disappointed by what I saw. Um, so I had people who were like, I don't think I'm going to tune in
Hmm.
because they had tuned into the first one, seeing all of the hype, had high expectations, and those expectations were not met at all. I had other people who were talking about like no one really liked thermal last year, and no one likes it again this year. I had multiple people reach out and be like, "Wait, thermal's a points race this year?" People had no clue. They thought it was the same thing as last year, where it was a money challenge, an exhibition race. So a lot of folks were shocked, like literally Friday of the race weekend, that this is a points race. So I think people just didn't tune in because they didn't realize it was a points race.
Hmm.
And also, it's on at the exact same time as NASCAR. So I think IndyCar with St. Pete had the luxury of kind of blending into NASCAR.
Right.
That was great. You got viewers perhaps because you could just, if you wanted to watch the NASCAR race, well, there's race car on beforehand. So turn it on and see kind of what this is. If you've got them at the same time, no one's tuning, no psychos tuning into two of those at the same time, except for me.
Multiple screens. So I have 3
Yeah.
monitors to do
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, the IndyCar Fox thing was also rough. As you know, the broadcasting truck blew an amp at the track.
Yeah.
So then they had to switch over to NASCAR, and it was Mike Joy was like, "Oh, a lot of thermal IndyCar viewers, welcome on into the Homestead race at
So
NASCAR." It's
I
like,
think
oh
the
no.
funniest part of that is I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the viewership peaked at that point on the broadcast because people tuned in to see the broadcast fucking up,
Yes.
which is insane.
Hey, all press is good press. What do we? What do you? Not gonna complain about that. Um, there was also the thing that I don't think they explained well in the broadcast. 'Cause I don't think they're allowed to say this because it's thermal. This is a whole ad for thermal. Thermal's not
Yeah.
built to be a racetrack. It's
Yeah.
built for rich people to not yeet themselves off the course in their fancy sports
Yeah.
cars when they go drive to their condos by the racetrack.
As Chris
This is
put
so
this in a
frustrating.
really good way of it's not like it's a track that's designed to make mediocre drivers in fancy cars feel like they're pushing at the limit.
Right.
It's challenging for the dude in his midlife crisis with his fancy Porsche. When you put an Indy car on it, it's not designed for that kind of thing because it's not designed as a high performance racetrack. So,
Yeah. You also had Will Buxton defending a lot. He like,
oh my
and I
God.
get it. Like he,
I can't.
I don't know how to. I
I
don't know how he can win
can't.
though. I understand what he's doing. This is his job, right? And he loves it. He loves IndyCar. He wants to defend it. He's like, this racing was actually really good. There was a lot of passes, and I was like, well, I'm glad. That's great. I love the battle of Christian Lundgaard, all this stuff, and I'm glad you're saying there was a lot of action. I saw
Yeah.
none of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to
If
Fox,
I had
'cause
saw
I
some,
none of it.
maybe that would have been helpful. I went fucking 20 minutes without seeing a single thing because the broadcast didn't work.
I didn't see a second of it. And then to kind of add on, and something, I mean, I always say, and then I think you mention a lot, is just you're looking for patterns when it comes to drivers, what
Yep.
we're looking for now in broadcasts, and Fox
Mhm.
continually just doing something insane is wild. So there was also MotoGP at Coda this weekend, which
Mhm.
MotoGP, great racing, and it only takes like 30 minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You just wrap it all up, you call it a day. MotoGP was at Coda, and last year, and I didn't know this, so someone mentioned this in the Discord a day before the race. HBO had the rights to MotoGP, which was nice because WEC also had the rights, so I got 2 motorsports in one. So this year I didn't know they switched over to Fox, I guess, for races. But Fox said in their announcement for having MotoGP rights that they're going to air MotoGP, if not on FS1, on Fox Business. And I was like, interesting. I Googled Fox Business really quickly, and it turns out the Fox Business does have more viewers than CNBC, but only during like weekdays.
Mm.
Because then when all of us in the Discord went to YouTube TV, Hulu, our cable, it all showed that they were selling gold coins from 2 to
Yeah.
2:30. It was like USA Gold 51, and it was like looking to buy rare gold coins, tune in and like learn about blah blah blah. It had nothing about MotoGP. And I was like, for 30 minutes on FS1 you have NASCAR, understandably, not going to move it. On
Yep.
Fox, my local affiliate Fox, they had St. Louis FC versus Austin FC, like MLS, and I was like, none of those cities are near me. And also,
Yeah.
like, you can't just show MotoGP for 30 minutes and then just go back to the soccer game, which is going to take 2.5 hours. Like, yeah, we got time. And then on FS2, they had horse racing. And then on another thing, which is another 3 hours, there was just 3 hours of horse racing. You can't, I'm like, again, for half an hour, you can't put MotoGP on there. You put it on Fox Business?
Yeah.
I just want to know what the ratings
Fox
are. I don't know if that
Business.
came out today for MotoGP.
I have no
There's
idea.
no
I
way
have
they
to
had
look up to
anything.
it.
And then Fox
Mm-mm.
Business posted, Fox PR posted, oh, MotoGP going to be on Fox Business because it can't be on FS1. And I was like, are you sure? Because according to my cable schedule, it says you're selling gold coins from 2 to 2:30. Like, it doesn't say MotoGP. Some old man in some like healthcare center is very upset he couldn't buy his limited edition 1995 Buffalo gold coin because you put on motorcycles when you said you were selling gold coins. I just
I
don't
wonder
know.
if they had it tape delayed.
No, they had. So
No?
finally at like 2:05, someone's like, "Oh, Ash, it's actually racing." They did put on MotoGP, but it still said selling gold coins, and I was
Oh
like,
my
"What are we doing?" And then they
God.
replayed it at like 9 or 9:30 with
Jesus
actual
Christ.
MotoGP on the
Yeah.
listing. So I was very confused about what that was about. I was like, "Did you not know you were doing this and like submitted the wrong lineup?"
That's crazy. That's just crazy talk.
I just like don't understand what they thought about the whole MotoGP thing. Silver coins for 2:30 to like 6 p.m. It was MLS also bumps IndyCar off Fox.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
This doesn't make any
I can't.
sense.
I
I don't love
can't.
it. Yeah, MotoGP fans got screwed. I thought HBO Max still had it, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great because I love just logging on to HBO and just watching it. But no, it was on Fox, and it was a little ridiculous. Anyway, poor Mark Marquez did not win. Moving on.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Talking about NASCAR, Denny Hamlin. For all you big Denny Hamlin fans, or not big Denny Hamlin fans, I don't know how our Discord feels or chat feels. Dominant win in Martinsville. Led a lot of laps.
Yep. Did the good thing. He got out of his car and people were
Mm,
actually cheering for him,
yeah.
which was crazy. And then he busts out a flag that says 11 against the world. And I was like, I don't, maybe you could have like held on to that one because they're actually liking you right now.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just like a bunch of middle fingers to NASCAR.
Probably.
But yeah, everyone's on your side right now. And it's an Ohio
Yeah.
State thing for people who don't know the whole 11 against
I
the
just
world
beat
against the
your
world.
favorite podcaster.
It's just win a fucking championship, nerd. Oh my god, I hate this guy. It's fine. I'm fine with it. I was going back and forth on some social media stuff. It's interesting when we're like, oh, drivers need to show personality, and then Denny Hamlin shows personality, and people are like, it's too cheesy.
Not like that.
Not like that. He's making up for personalities of Chase Elliott, Kyle, like where
Mhm.
he's trying to cover everyone's personality and all that he does. Okay, he's got a lot of ground to make up. There was a interesting video from the Hendrick admin on like the Hendrick, I think, Instagram, where they had Chase Elliott like sign like a fake contract with like a Hendrick letter. And it said, I agree to make at least, I think, 2 TikToks a race weekend. He signed it and then he read it and then he crossed out 2 and he wrote 0. And he's like, how
Oh
about
my
none?
God.
And it was like funny. He wasn't rude about it, but also like,
Brother.
so
Human.
Denny Hamlin's kind of making up for for everyone and then not having any fun on the racetrack. And we can go into a whole conversation if we think drivers need to be doing social media or they should just shut up and drive and all this other stuff. But Denny Hamlin, I don't mind the flag. It's not for me because I'm a Michigan fan, go blue. But whatever, it's fun. He's having a good time.
I liked it. The like entrance standings or the team standings or whatever, however the hell they count that in NASCAR, is just like Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, Hendrick, Joe Gibbs right now.
That's
Ah,
so funny. Degenerate Weekly, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, everyone. We're just talking about
gang's
some
out here.
motorsports stuff. Gang's all here. Last part of our rapid fire is this Drive to Survive article from Elizabeth's colleague, whose name Keith
Collantine.
Collantine. I said every variation of his last name besides the 2 that made the last name part that made sense.
I'm gonna paste it in the chat here.
Oh yeah, and I'll paste it on YouTube for all you guys to read. So it was a interview with the Drive to Survive producer. And the producer, essentially, the part of the article is that they try to make the story as authentic as possible.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Forget about the fake race radios.
Yeah.
And that we just forgot that George Russell didn't actually win Spa. They try to keep the story as authentic as possible because that's what matters. And then Elizabeth, would you like to continue to the points that you've...
Yeah. Then he continues on with it becomes an interpretation of what happened, not
In the same interview.
authentic facts. Same interview. See, here blows my mind. We want authenticity, but we want an interpretation. Also,
It's so funny. Sorry, I like
he
laughing.
he describes F1 accurately as, quote, an extremely bitchy world, which I thought was very funny, but is also a little bit like a little gendered, I think, perhaps. Um, he he also calls F1 a very fertile precinct in which to make a series because it's so contained. Uh,
There is
yeah.
these last 2 lines, which I'd also like. This is the same interview, same article you can read. This gentleman, who's from the UK, by the way, and a little bit older. What was he, like 40 something? He continues saying, female viewers are a significant part of Formula One's new audience, which Gay Reese says no surprise to him. Quote, you've got sexy young men driving sports cars and risking their lives. First of all, sports cars are completely different. Whatever. We'll talk about this in a second. Continuing. I mean, it's pretty basic sort of equation for success. My 18-year-old daughter didn't even know how to spell Formula One 2 years ago. Now she's obsessed. First of all, I hate you. Second of all,
There's a lot to unpack there. I just love the implication that his daughter didn't know how to spell when she was
this
16
is just
years
like
old.
such like a man. This is I hate all of this article.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
16-year-old daughter didn't know how to spell Formula One. And
She
I
didn't know
know
how to
that's a
spell
joke.
one? Like, come on. What? Ah,
Also, it's funny because everyone's like, "Oh, women only watch for the men." Yet you have this man who's a producer, one basically saying the same thing, but also saying you've got
yeah.
young, sexy men driving sports cars, and I was like,
They're not sports cars.
they're
They're
also
just
not
not
all
sports
young.
cars. Yeah. Fernando Alonso is fucking elderly. He could
I
be my
I think
father.
there's only one man on the grid who's younger than your daughter or same age. I think Camille Antonelli's now 18. He's not no longer 17, and then everyone else is
Yeah.
19, 20, 21,
Yeah.
35, 28.
The whole thing, honestly.
Bro's talking like Winston Churchill, still prime minister.
I just don't. See, this is not an April Fool's prank. This is from like 2 weeks ago. So this was March. This was not even an April posting. I love that he just straight up admitted it's an interpretation, which I guess sure.
Sorry, my camera's shitting itself.
I also just love the fact. I love the implication that like I don't know that we're just never going to interrogate why women watch Formula One. We're just never like gonna actually talk to a woman about this. We're just going to keep saying women watch Formula One because the drivers are hot and that's it.
That's it.
I feel like it's so reductive. It's so stupid. It doesn't even touch on the actual reasons why people watch Formula One, let alone women. It pisses me off. It just pisses me off.
I hate all of it. Sorry, I'm just fixing my stream
All
here. Sorry,
good.
everyone. Hello. The funny part is goes gay Reese at F1 previously was described as bit male, pale, and stale. I was like, who
I think that's I'm gonna keep that one, honestly. That's going in my back pocket. The NHRA broadcast we kept on the Fox after NASCAR and they dropped a Gadzooks when the cars launched. Gadzooks and pale, male, and stale are gonna be my two. That's gonna be my themes of the month.
This is wild. I just hate that sentence.
I hate
They're not sports cars.
it pisses me off.
It's not sports cars. Yeah.
Anyway, if you would like to consider perhaps other reasons why women like Formula One, we have talked about this in the past. Ashley brought up the really good point of like
Oh.
women relate to the Formula One drivers because they're in kind of a no-win situation.
Yeah.
I saw some really good TikToks that were breaking it down actually recently, where it's like it is the finely balanced political meanderings and dramas that go on in the paddock where like women relate because we are generally policing ourselves very closely when we are in public, and a lot of F1 drivers are doing the exact same thing in the paddock because they know everything they say can be taken out of context.
Yeah.
Like there's so many there are better reasons for this. We also just like the racing. Like we enjoy the personalities. We enjoy the drama. I don't think we have to just narrow it down to driver cute because I don't see them when they're racing. I don't watch a race and see that. I
They're
see the
also like
helmets.
so. I mean, I'm also almost 33. They're too young. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I just know. Stop
They're
telling me that I
little
have to like
guys.
them. Yeah, they're just little guys. They're doing their best, and it's just and frustrating. Like women just like sports. I don't. There's like another sport that we have to say that it's guys are
We've
cute.
liked sports forever. We always have. The men who
Yeah.
think we don't like sports have never talked to a woman.
It's that guy who commented on your YouTube video.
Yeah. I was reading a great story. I can't even remember where it was. About a woman who was commentating on like Major League Baseball publicly in the 70s and like the backlash that she got from that. because people were like, women don't know baseball. Women can't talk about baseball. I was like, we have not moved on in the 50 years since she got her first job. Like, we still are in this mindset of women don't know anything. Your voice is too shrill, so you shouldn't talk about it. This is insane. Insane.
Wild. Dodge the YouTube says, been attending F1 for more than 25 years. There's always been plenty of women trackside.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think someone made this video on TikTok a while ago about just women in certain fandoms. It's just like women have always been into like comics or,
Yeah.
or like Star Wars, things like
Star
that.
Trek.
Star Trek.
Women
We
single-handedly
just
like,
don't like to publicly say it all the time
yeah.
because of the backlash.
We
So we find our
don't
own little
value the way that they
communities.
like stuff.
Yeah, we just keep it to ourselves sometimes. It took me
Yeah.
a while to be like really into sports or like just talking
Publicly.
about it publicly, not publicly, but like a little
Yeah.
bit amongst because I would like talk about like my girlfriends and my brother and his friends because they're like, oh whatever, they like, just grew up with me. But like at school, it was always weird, and it's men always give you homework too.
Yeah, I
They're like,
know.
it's not even
You
like,
can't
oh,
just
you
like something.
can't just like something. They're like, oh well, yeah, you should watch this game and this game. I was like, great. If I have 10 hours to watch extra baseball from like the 50s, I'll let you know. But like, I also don't need to.
My literal favorite thing is when I make a video on the like DPTJ TikTok on like a race from 1970 something, and there's always dudes in the comments that
Mm,
just didn't listen. They just heard the first sentence and then summarize the whole point and then like give it back to me.
yeah,
It's like, oh, that was the race where XYZ happened. Yeah, I fucking know.
that's
I
what I'm
said
talking
it.
about it.
It's not even a 60-second video. If you just listened, you'd know.
No, you're an
I
AI.
know.
You're a bot.
Oh, gets me every time, dude. Every time.
Something I also get, which I this is not like a compliment to myself, not always get. I see these comments at least like once per video if I'm talking about something historical or like a fun fact. I don't know if people just think I'm younger than I am or don't realize it.
Mhm.
They're like, "How would you know? You just started watching like what 2 years ago when you're 18." And I was like, "My brother in Christ, I'm old." First, someone yelled at me one time. They were 27, and I was like, "I am 33." I was like, "What are you talking about? Why are you yelling at me? Like, why is this? What's this like ageism thing all of a sudden too? Like, if you're young, you just couldn't have watched old races.
You can't ever know anything.
You couldn't have
When I
experienced
was
it.
17 years old, I got into F1 because of the 1970s. So I knew more about
Oh
1970s
yeah,
F1 than contemporary F1 at that
yeah.
point.
If you guys want to talk about
That's
1970s motorsports, just
Jesus.
hit up
Like,
Elizabeth on social media.
it's not that fucking hard, folks. It's not that hard.
Men are more likely to complain about women engaging thoughtfully about sport than complaining about other loud, dumb men who don't know a lick about sports. Look at you, Pat McAfee. Sad Pat McAfee noises. I think he's fine.
Oh, so Chris and I sent this video to Ash. Chris and I were watching a video. There's a gentleman on YouTube named Whistlin' Diesel who is a shit poster, effectively, and he just bought a Toro Rosso car from like 2009. And we were watching it, and Chris kept pointing at it and was like, if you did that, you would be canceled. If you
Oh,
did that, no one would take you seriously anymore. And like, great video, very funny. But it's so wild to see something like that where it's very funny and very lighthearted. And no, I can never do that because if I do, I'm not going to be taken seriously for any of the other stuff that I do.
I think there's two things. You and I think maybe talked about this or like do the same thing
Hmm.
where if I'm making any historical video, I'm asking like 60 people to review it because I want nothing wrong.
Hmm.
News, I'm like, hey Elizabeth, would you mind watching this? Or like,
Hmm.
what did you hear? Like, how can I add context to this? I am texting tons of people because I do not want to be wrong. Because one, I just don't want to give out factual information, like
Yeah.
incorrect information, because I just feel shitty. But
Yeah.
then I just know people in the comments will just be just 100% more rude if I am somewhat
Hmm.
incorrect. But then you have these people that are just like straight up just making up shit.
Yeah, I know. They're just wrong and proud of being wrong.
And then second of all, there's God, what was that podcast of the two guys who didn't know what F1 was, and now somehow they were like the most popular F1 like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
These two guys from like the UK,
Oh my
and they were
God,
just
I
saying
know what you're
really
talking
dumb
about.
shit.
The Pit Stop Boys
Is that who that
or
is?
whatever.
No,
I think
two women
so.
could never do that.
No, absolutely
Could
not.
never. And get away with it with all the popularity that they did. It was wild.
Hmm. My source is that I made it the fuck up. Yeah.
My sources have made it. To be fair, Whistling Diesel's a good 70% of his audience are hate watching his videos. Sad.
I think they are. I was texting Ash about this when I sent her the video. I think they are beautiful examples of modern art, um, about rage engagement and how we can piss people off and make a lot of money off of it. You know what? Good for him. I like to watch him destroy Cybertrucks.
Yeah, his editing wasn't really my style. I told Elizabeth this when she sent me
Yeah,
the F1. He bought an F1 car, a Toro Rosso car. That yeah, the editing is just definitely like Gen Z, like memification.
yeah,
But like I liked the video, like the contents
yeah,
of it, and I was like, I want to watch more of it. I don't. He seemed like
yeah,
a fine person. He wasn't a dick about it. He was just like, oh, I'm learning. Like, I don't know. He was having a good time.
yeah, yeah.
It's
It was
great.
fun. Good video.
F1
10 out
hate
of 10.
watching is real. I think it was wild. People do follow you on social media to also hate watch. Did you guys know that? I just mute people I don't like, so I don't have to see it. Like I
Yeah,
don't want to block them, but I just like, don't want to see it. I don't hate watch. That's
yeah.
crazy.
I don't like. It makes me feel bad. Like it makes
It's a
my
waste of my time. If I don't like you,
yeah,
then I don't need to deal with you. Like I just mute.
yeah,
I don't want to block you because like I don't
yeah.
have any brief. Like it's something personal or like something whatever. I'll deal with that on my own. Like this is why are you following me if you don't want to? If you hate me, this makes no
Yeah.
sense.
I don't get it. I literally cannot. People are just weird. How do
How
you
much
have that
time
much
do people
time?
have? Yeah, they can watch something they don't like. I hate watch the NTT IndyCar series, the NASCAR Xfinity series, and WEC.
Girl, same.
I don't hate watch WEC. I love WEC. Interesting enough, Dodge said Pit Stop is the UK podcast. I got access to Liam when he got promoted. Now, jump into it. Great segue. Thank you so much, Dodge. Liam is now demoted.
Yep. Liam Lawson demoted after exactly 2 races at Red Bull. He's going back to Racing Bulls, and Yuki Tsunoda is moving up to Red Bull. This is the shortest stint at Red Bull ever before a demotion, so good for him, setting records. Um, Christian Horner. Christian Horner released a statement that said it's been difficult to see Liam struggle with the RB21, and as a result, we have collectively taken the decision to make an early switch. Blah, blah, blah. We have a duty of care to protect and develop Liam, and together we see that after such a difficult start, it makes sense to act quickly so Liam can gain experience as he continues his F1 career with Cash App Racing Bulls, an environment and a team he knows very well.
Please hold.
Um,
Sorry. I don't know what my
yeah,
camera's doing.
your poor camera.
It's just struggling today. It's just not having a good time. And I don't know
Yeah.
why. And too much. It's all these damn women talking about motorsports.
Ugh, we're being policed. We're being policed by Big Twitch.
Cameras hate watching too. Hate force.
Yeah, I find the phrase duty of care incredibly wild for Red Bull and the way it treats its juniors. Um, I find the whole situation strange because Max Verstappen has admitted publicly to struggling with the car. He says it's better than last year, but it is still not good. Um, so here's the thing. Why wasn't Yuki promoted in the first place? I think like I want to work back through the logic of this because it so many people were like this doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Wait,
Can
why
you
doesn't it make
ex
sense? Elizabeth,
A lot
school
of
us.
people couldn't, yeah, a lot of people couldn't understand, well, why didn't they just promote Yuki in the first place? Why did they even promote Liam at all? It was just setting him up for failure. Yuki Tsunoda is a Honda hire. Before he was a Red Bull Junior, he was a Honda Junior. Yeah, because Yuki is not a favorite son. Exactly. He's not a favorite son. He was never picked by Red Bull because Red Bull wanted him. He was
Right.
picked by Red Bull because of its ties with Honda. Red Bull is splitting with Honda at the end of this year, so they saw no value in promoting a driver to their top team that would not be viable to them in the future. There was there they were just like, yeah, if we're getting rid of Yuki at the end of 2025, So why
Yeah,
would
but
we
they don't
promote
also
him?
have to get rid of him at the end of 2025. They
But
could,
they're
even
gonna.
without Honda,
Yeah,
re-sign
but
him
they
if
because
they wanted to.
they have juniors that they want to move in.
Yeah.
They want to promote their talent that they have signed in.
Mm.
So how did Liam Lawson end up here? Let me wind the clocks back to 2023 and a little fella named Nick DeVries.
It's
Nick
all his fault.
DeVries, yeah, Formula E champion, Formula 2 champion. They put him in the Alpha Tauri and he sucked. Um, Helmut Marko, he just didn't get up to speed, didn't adapt to the car. Helmut Marko hated him. Helmut Marko said, um, like, hey, you're 28 years old. You're not a rookie. What can I help you with, ma'am?
Does Helmut Marko like anyone that's not Max Verstappen?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Just wanted to
yeah,
clarify that for the jury.
yeah, yeah. I think he just kind of hates
The
everyone,
defense rest.
which
Continue.
makes sense. So Nick DeVries, they brought him in because they didn't have any junior drivers who could make the jump to F1 at that point.
Yeah.
They didn't have anyone left. They didn't have anyone in their pipeline to move up. They had to go outside of their team, and they had to do that same thing with Sergio Perez with Red Bull as well, because they didn't feel that they had anyone capable of moving up to Red Bull proper within the Red Bull pipeline, had to outsource. The problem was when they put DeVries in, they had kind of banked on him maybe as a stopgap for a little while, and that didn't happen. They had to take him right back out. So they put Daniel Ricciardo in because he's just around, desperate for a career. And then they had to put Liam in for that brief little period of time where Daniel Ricciardo had broken his wrist and needed someone to take over for him. Perez signed a 2-year contract last year. It was a 1 year through the end of 2025 with an extension option. His performance drop off immediately after that point put Red Bull in a conundrum of, we don't want to keep this guy because we're going to lose our Constructors' Championship. So what do we do? Our options are Daniel Ricciardo, who they fired before Perez, which leaves open Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. They look at Yuki and they say, we don't have a future with him, but Liam is still probably a little too fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he'll be the next Max Verstappen, which is what they've been trying to get since they started this program. So they threw him in, and it didn't work. So this is how we've ended up in this situation. It's kind of there was no option for any other situation here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like it.
Now, there was an emergency meeting. There were first of all, after the Chinese Grand Prix, there were a lot of rumors swirling around, right? Yeah. What was true is do we call it an emergency? There was a meeting.
Helmut Marko called it an emergency meeting.
I mean, this man says a lot of things about a lot of stuff. This man said an emergency meeting. Like they're all not traveling together all the fucking time. Of the brilliant minds of Formula One, Red Bull, excuse me. But it's not only Red Bull, it was also their Thai backing, their Thai ownership, their stakeholders, everyone involved was in this meeting. From my understanding, Elizabeth, specifically for the Japanese Grand Prix, a lot of people thought they would give him one more race. I think, as you mentioned, motorsport.com talked the same thing with Lewis Hamilton, giving him 100 days. People thought they would extend that same courtesy to Liam Lawson, especially another argument that's been happening online is track knowledge, and that he knows the Japanese Grand Prix, knows Suzuka better than the last two tracks completely.
He's not raced. Yeah, I just want to make that clear. He's not raced Australia or China. So that was his first time on both of those tracks. Australia during a wet weather race and China during a sprint race weekend. So these drivers, he has not had time to kind of get up to speed with what during practice with what the racing conditions will be.
Now, we'll talk about having track knowledge as a viable variable of being good with the car and doing well in a race, because that's something Scott McLaughlin from IndyCar, who also talked about and kind of had discussions with online, which I really appreciated. Another thing is that not only did I heard the Thai backing really wanted the switch to happen for Suzuka, I heard the Honda, because they also own Suzuka, because Yuki is a Honda back driver, because it is the Japanese Grand Prix, might have potentially, allegedly, paid additional
Hmm.
or really, 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 really told them, convinced them to do the
Yeah.
switch now.
Yeah. And that's that's political stuff that can happen
Yeah.
in F1. That just so Yuki last year got a test in the RB20 in Abu Dhabi. That was not because Red Bull wanted to promote him, and Red Bull made that extremely clear. They pointed out and let everyone know the reason they were doing that was because Honda told them they had to. That was it. So Honda has sway because Honda is an engine supplier for them at the moment. Like that's a big, huge investment. There are contractual ties. Um, so could happen, maybe not. Like maybe that is the truth, maybe not. There's a lot of factors that go into this. I've heard that Liam Lawson had paid a large amount of money to like justify the move up to Red Bull. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's true, because it's impossible to know these kinds of things. But the situation was basically like we have not just the performance of these drivers to take into consideration, but the outside commercial interests that pay for the team to get to the track every weekend.
Yeah.
And what do we do? It doesn't matter to them if Yuki Tsunoda gets in that car and is miserable for the rest of the year because they do not intend to keep him in that seat.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to keep Liam Lawson in the Red Bull program. It does make more sense for them to sort their fucking car out and give Liam more time to mount a championship challenge and see how he can do throughout an entire season. And it also makes sense if you're like, well, we have to like sacrifice a guy. So we'll just sacrifice Yuki because we don't have any long-term hopes and dreams for him.
Interesting from Gottfried. It says next year when Honda has no pull, Lawson's confidence is shot. Yuki can't handle the Red Bull, and Max wants to leave Mercedes. What are they going to do? Um, that's a lot of questions in one
Yeah.
sentence.
And
Um,
it's also a lot of dominoes that need
if
to
to
fall for
fall,
that to
which
happen.
could happen. I mean, this is Formula One,
It
but I think
could, yeah.
Elizabeth, the good point is that there's so much that's not even. You don't have to be the best driver in the world to race in Formula One.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you are, I mean, it helps a lot, and you should get a lot of sponsors and money. But a lot of it is a lot of politicking. How would
Yeah.
what would you give it? What percentage would you say is good driving versus politicking and money?
Oh, God. It's tough.
It's interesting to me because Stroll's
Yeah.
doing decently well, and people are like,
Yeah.
"What's happening?" And I have my current sneaking suspicion is because they've actually developed him for X number of years. Not
Yeah.
only have they like built a program and Aston Martin, but he's also been a part of it just because his dad has paid for a seat, which I think we can say he is
Hmm.
a original paid driver there.
Hmm.
But because he's just been part of that program and ingrained in it so much, they're like, "Oh, this actually works for him and us. If we have a good strategy, we've developed
Yeah.
it with ourselves in the car. What a win-win situation for us." And I was like, damn, if other teams kept people in for X amount of time, could we be seeing some incredible gains like we have with Lance
Yeah.
Stroll?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing is Red Bull is not an organization that is willing to wait for you to get better. They have been they've been doing this for years. They've been doing
Yeah.
this almost since the very start of their program. The moment they signed Sebastian Vettel to Toro Rosso and he started to kick ass, they thought that was a thing that they needed to replicate every single time they signed a new driver. They struck magic once. Again, they got Max Verstappen. He turned out to be kind of a genius hire. But every other person that they've put into this program has not performed the same way. And it's how do you even put this into words? It's not like they're bad drivers.
Right.
It's just that they are not spectacular out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And that can become a problem because there are various human beings in this world who have various different needs when it comes to getting used to things. Some people, when they start a new job, really need someone to like hold their hand for the first week. I am one of those people. I want to ask you 19,000 questions.
Yeah.
It might take me a little while, but once I get there, you will never have to hear from me again because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person who gets in there and goes, got it, perfect, set, I'm done. Like I know my path and I fuck you guys because I know what's best for me. And that's kind of what they want.
Yeah.
I wrote a thing about this week about how the Red Bull program is like the way Enzo Ferrari handled his drivers,
Hmm.
which was you want them desperate, you want them unsatisfied, you want them worried that they will not get their seat, and you have a whole backlog of drivers that they are aware of waiting to take over for you when you fuck up. Um, so that's my take on this.
Yeah, the problem with the Red Bull has not done that. They don't have like
Yeah.
a huge backlog because they fired even from like they're so strict even in their formula development and like their development
Hmm.
program that they'll kick you out in months if you're
Yeah.
not doing hot. And their
And that's the
development
thing is
program.
they've also had a lot of talented drivers who leave and go to other programs because they don't feel that they actually are being prioritized for a shot. So you've got guys like Jack Crawford, for example. I believe he
Hmm.
was a Red Bull junior, realized that's not going to work and then moved to a different team, and became, I think it's like Aston Martin's junior, their only junior, because like they were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit too that it used to be um and it's something kind of similar to what Tom Brady said about college football and football. I think we've talked about this numerous times, but for folks who might be new or haven't listened to this before, that developing into Formula One starts, I think, now at like karting. We go back
Yeah.
so far. It's not even but if you're not performing in Formula 3, you're gone. And that's what Red Bull did to
Yeah.
a Polish development driver, which is why I know that. If you're not doing well in F2, forget about it. Like, you're not getting the money
Hmm.
and moving on. You have to start politicking and raising funds and shaking hands and kissing babies. It's just like at the junior karting levels. It's insane.
Hmm.
And it's like,
Hmm.
we're not even like developing, giving them the skill set to thrive in that kind of environment. Because it's just, and then
Yeah.
again, why would someone put themselves through this? This is all they've known for now. Formula One definitely
Yeah.
has like a very quick like clock and like amount of time you can be in it and thrive, or potentially even be considered to be in it. Let
Yeah.
alone everyone knows that you can race in WEC whenever, you can race in IMSA whenever. Sports car racing tends itself to a higher age
Hmm.
group. You can, if you don't make it to Formula One at 19, you have the rest of the motorsports series at your beck and call if
Yeah.
you're really, really good and have all that money and stuff. So Formula
Yeah.
One, especially in like the European way, the ladder and stuff like that, when you're going open wheel racing, like that is it for that
Yeah.
age. And then you have the rest of your life to figure out if you want to do IndyCar, if you want to do sports racing, if you want to do whatever you want to do
Yeah.
after
Stock
that.
car somewhere.
Stock cars, yeah, exactly. So
This is
it's
I
tough.
yeah. I
It's
also would
brutal.
like to point out kind of a big difference between these two. So we have a lot of new rookies coming in this year.
Hmm.
If you contrast the way that Red Bull has handled Liam Lawson compared to the way that Mercedes has handled Kimi Antonelli, two entirely different worlds. You've got Red Bull throwing Lawson kind of into the thick of it, whereas with Mercedes, they made sure that they took advantage of their testing of previous cars programs to put Antonelli into their machinery and get him used to it. I don't believe Red Bull did that with
Hmm.
Liam Lawson over the offseason. They did, but Mercedes did that with Antonelli to make sure. Like fucking Ferrari did that with Lewis Hamilton so that he would get used to like the configuration of the steering wheel.
I mean, Ferrari with
Um,
Ollie Behrman and Haas.
exactly. Exactly.
That's a big
You've
one.
got these guys who are like they're learning, they're being nurtured. Kimi Antonelli knows that he's got some time at Mercedes before they start evaluating contracts and stuff. I can't imagine the pressure that comes on when you know you just have like every race could be your last race.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. These people, I think we forget that they're like little guys. You know what I mean? Their frontal lobes aren't developed yet, and they've been employed for fucking their entire lives. They've been working their
Yeah.
entire lives. They've been a pawn. That who knows if you know, if they've gone to school, it was online school. So it wasn't like they were meeting with their peers. They existed in this adult male space for so long that I just don't know if they kind of get the nurturing that they need.
Yeah, I would say this is a like. Do you think this is like a sports thing? But it's like Formula One is
Hmm.
just so brutal.
Hmm.
Baseball, yeah, you fuck up, you got 161 games to figure it out, right? Or they send you back to the minors. You fix yourself there. You work your way back up, going back and forth.
Hmm.
Nothing's as brutal as like Formula One's 24 race season, and they don't even give you that many races. Liam Lawson had 2.
Yeah.
It was, we
Yeah.
call it a day. It's just, I think they've built it into this like cutthroat competitive system.
Brad Makes Noise said, to be fair, Lawson did already race almost half a season in the Racing Bulls car, so he's not a full rookie. And with that, these are 2 different cars. The Racing Bull car and the Red Bull car are developed with entirely different ethos in mind. That's part of why Max Verstappen came out and said, I do think Lawson would be faster in the Racing Bulls car. Not because he's like, that's not to say he's a bad driver, but that's just to say that car probably suits him better because Max Verstappen has a very particular way that he likes his cars that is distinct from fucking every other driver in the universe, pretty much. And Red Bull are building that car for him, and he's struggling with it. So you throw in a guy who didn't get any testing in any of the previous cars, any of the previous kind of, the previous Red Bulls from like 2023 and back, where you could see the development of the lineage of this car. The Racing Bulls is designed to be the step up, to be the step toward a more difficult, challenging car. So like, yeah, he did get half a year, but it wasn't like he was getting experience in that technology, I think is what I'm trying to convey here. If they had done the testing of previous cars program and put him in a Red Bull from 2022 when we started these regulations, I think he would have seen more of the like logistical development that took place and how that car got from where it started to where it is when he's racing it now. They just didn't give him that.
Maybe he fully didn't know, or he thought he'd be more supported. I do like the news or interviews coming out, quotes that Liam Lawson feels just his mindset is more healthy being back in V-Carb.
Yeah.
He just feels better. It's just a better environment, just overall, whatever's going on, things like that. So, he, quote unquote, he knew what he signed up for, sure. It doesn't mean it makes it any less shitty, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think we just underestimate or we overestimate these drivers. You know what I mean? Like, we think that they're on top of the world because they're racing around the world. We think that they are fully grown adults, and they're not yet. They're still becoming people. They're still like defining who they are and how they exist and what they need. And it makes it difficult if they even, they may not even know how to ask for what they need because they haven't learned that skill because they're still just little guys. If Lewis Hamilton, I expect him to get in a car and kind of be able to tell people where he wants to go. I do not expect that from Isaac Hadjar. I don't expect that from Liam Lawson. I expect their teams to want to give them a little bit of breathing room. Something like, how old is Liam Lawson? He's like 24, 22.
Yeah. Chap says he got arrogantly cocky, now he's shoving humble pie down his neck. I hate that. If I'm driving $1 million, like, I'm going to be cocky. He's also a 21-year-old boy.
He's 23.
He's a 23. That's still my point. His frontal lobe is still not developed.
When I was 23 years old, I was a fucking idiot. I was an asshole. If I was
driving in Formula One, I would be such an asshole.
I would have been insufferable, dude. I would have been the worst.
God, stand-up comedian Neil Brennan said this. He goes, I want my athletes to be psychos. Do you know what you call an athlete with a good mental health? An assistant coach. I want my drivers, especially if they're racing like this and being dangerous, I want them to be cocky and be like, yes, that's fine. You have that kind of shit talk in sports. Go for it, dude. I don't care. Yeah. I have socks older than him. Two Slider says I would have been in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think we forget that we don't contextualize this. We just assume that they are these they are very highly capable athletes, but they're still, I don't know, developing beings.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Japan in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should we jump to the Japanese GP preview, or do you want to talk about the Steves and NASCAR first? Since we're
Let's jump to the Japanese Grand Prix. We're on that topic.
Japanese Grand Prix, baby. Let's go. Grand Prize of Japan. 1 a.m. Eastern. if you're listening in the
Oh
United
God.
States, and you guys can figure out the math from there. I think I will do a race watch along just because I'm so innately curious about how everything will go. I
Yeah,
also saw the Haas new liveries with the cherry blossoms because they are
it's
gazoo
pretty.
maxing so hard with Toyota. I love it so much. Love the cherry blossoms. I need you to know the white livery, not the current one, the previous one that they did was my favorite Red Bull livery. Also, the barcode livery was also one of my favorites. Those two. And then I woke up this morning and ran to my phone and I saw their livery for this weekend and I was like, God has favorites and it's me.
Ah,
It is me. It looks so good. I love it so
it's really
much.
nice.
Oh, I love that. I also like that the wing isn't white. It's like it's still like the Red Bull blue, like whatever color that is. But
Yeah.
I love the chrome bull or like the
Hmm.
metallic bull that they have. Oh, it looks so great.
Yeah. I love when teams do the special liveries because I don't know, it just
Yeah,
always makes me so
I'm a
happy
big
because
fan of the
it's
special liveries, the helmet design.
yeah,
They're doing a lot more helmets
yeah,
the past couple of races. Even like towards the
yeah,
tail end of last year, every single race has been a custom helmet. I was like, this is awesome.
yeah.
I don't.
I think they finally loosened their restrictions that they had on the helmet changes, and then people realized they could actually do them again. Because I remember a couple years ago, they were like, you can only have two helmet changes a year or two or three. Um, just let them do whatever the fuck they want.
That is a weird rule. Why would that be a rule?
They wanted it so that when you looked into the cockpit, you could tell which driver it was.
Oh, that's fine. I
Yeah.
guess. I think there's other ways of doing that besides just the helmets, but whatever. It's just
Yeah,
now
I was
there
gonna say
are.
make the numbers better. Like
Yeah.
make them more legible.
I was like, yeah, I guess that's a way to do it. That's fine. Um,
Yeah.
put their name on it, like iRacing shames me with. That's funny. Yeah, I love the deliveries. I don't know. Everyone saw the steak F1 steak car this morning on April Fools. It is an April Fool's Day joke. We're just making that very abundantly clear right meow.
Yeah.
It
I
was
wish they were racing a state car. That'd have been funny as fuck.
yeah, I guess. I'll take it.
A meat car? Come on.
I don't need the men to be happy about anything, especially a meat flying 100, 200 miles per hour.
But it makes me happy.
How do you like your steak, Elizabeth?
Medium rare.
Oh, they were about to say well done. Okay.
No, my stepdad does. Every time we go
Why
out to
even
a
have a steak?
steakhouse. I like my he likes his chewy meat.
Oh God. But yeah, we're at Suzuka. Oh man, I almost turned off the podcast. Yeah, exactly. Um, they call Suzuka pretty technical. We got to see some high downforce setups, similarly last week in that case. But you want that grip and stability. They say that the Suzuka is front limited, meaning the front tires are more susceptible to tire wear than the rest of the car with long sweeping corners in Suzuka. They got the 130R corner, the S curves. It's a great track.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a track, Suzuka's on the list.
That's a track. That's a
That's a
capital T
track.
track.
If I want to gatekeep people, if you don't like Suzuka, get out of here. That is a track. And I like the fan service of all like the fun liveries and like the
Yeah.
Red Bull also changed their uniform that all their employees have to wear to like white shirts and everything like that. I mean,
Oh,
it's so
cute.
fun. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a good time.
I feel like the Asian rounds just go so hard because the fans are so passionate. I don't know if you saw Luke Smith in China went to one of the fan swaps. So people showed up, tons and tons of people with stickers and buttons and pins and like friendship bracelets and stuff and just like gave them out to people. So
That's awesome.
like that's just cool. That's a super amazing level of engagement that I just like to see. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
we get so caught up in like the European races or the Formula One races. Like
Yeah.
that's the and it's like, well, the other fans have such a cool, different way, I think, of being into this sport. I just love it.
I think I mentioned this last time. The Chinese Grand Prix has the cheapest general admission ticket you can possibly get, and
I
still
think
like
so.
pretty good, like on the in the grandstand and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I what I've been liking about these other races is something that I've been trying to formulate, and I'll workshop it here with you guys live. It's just people are like, "Why do you love baseball so much?" And I was like, "Because you can just show up as you are. There's no like, if you want to wear a nice outfit to a baseball game and spend a lot of money to sit behind home plate and get those drinks to you and whatever, you absolutely can. But if you also want to be at Yankee Stadium in the back doing the roll call with that guy." and like wearing gyms and like gym shorts and a t-shirt and a hat and be part of the team in a uniform. Like you can find pretty affordable tickets. God, where's my camera going? Why are you doing this to me in the middle of my speech?
You just got speeched.
Dude, what is happening right now? Anyway, camera doesn't like baseball. No, apparently not. Yeah, but anyway, essentially the food. Right. We're not going to say it's affordable at a stadium, especially at football. I know beers can be like $20, but if you're comparing it to like an F1 race, like I can still tailgate, right? I can get sloshed beforehand at the bar next door for like X amount, or if you're walking through the parking lot tailgate, someone's gonna hand you a Busch Light. Do I want to drink it? No, but I don't also want to pay $20 for a beer, so I am.
Yep.
And I'm gonna shotgun it right there, and everyone's gonna be like, "Yeah!" Then everyone's cheering, and then people are doing chirps, and then people are like, "Aaron Judge is on steroids. I hate the torpedo bats. Ah, my God, fuck Juan Soto." It's just like this whole. It's just like a fun, good time, and everyone's enjoying themselves no matter like where you come from. And in my head, it's so frustrating to see Formula One sometimes advertise themselves as, "We only want rich people here. We only give a shit about that. There's millions of dollars. Look at all this high class, highbrow stuff. Everyone wants to be in the paddock." I was like,
I mean,
can we
I
not
guess.
do it this way?
Yeah,
hate
there are
that.
some parts of like, sure, I think the aspirational part of F1 is a part of F1 that should be promoted. Because it does, like, you can get an experience at F1 that you cannot get at any other like racetrack anywhere else for any other discipline. I don't think that should be the only thing that we talk about. I
Yeah.
think that should be
I want
a
to hear about the friendship
minor.
bracelets. I want to hear about people
Yeah.
having a good time. Like I want to hear people about like shooting the shit and like we're
Yeah.
partying beforehand. We're coming in. We're having a good time. We're
Yeah.
doing this the snake cup that they do it at some of the stadiums after you drink all those beers. Oh, especially when you're comparing the Cubs Dodgers game in Japan that they had to Formula One. It's just so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Me and Elizabeth also talked about this. I think just the fans. How do I say this about not offending Europeans?
They're stinky. They got their head up their butt.
All right, Elizabeth. All right, simmer before we get canceled out of here in Formula One world. The fans in specifically the countries we have seen in Formula One, specifically I'm talking about China. I've noticed this when the drivers are being interviewed. Have you guys noticed it's so quiet?
Yeah.
It's and like they seem like they're very clean up after them. Like there was a lot of things about like how the fans are cleaning up after the race. I saw on Twitter things like there's very like especially like the track invasion.
Yeah.
No one's not no one. Some people are running, but otherwise very orderly. I was like, man, this is such a much better experience. I need to be going to these races instead of like everyone's like, you need to go to Monza, and I was like, I'm scared.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like I think it's two culturally different ways of relating to the sport that are both interesting in their own right. Um, I think it's when you get stuff with like F1 particularly, there becomes a sense, I think, of entitlement as well, where it's like this has been our thing. So that it's like we're gonna push and shove because we deserve this or we earn this.
Yeah.
There is like I know that they don't want to say that there's an entitlement because there is, but entitlement is an American thing that a lot of the Europeans don't want to acknowledge.
That's why I like
And I
Vegas,
think,
by the way.
yeah,
Because it's just like,
yeah,
oh, I want to go to a $20 buffet because I spent all my money on race tickets. So like, yeah, that's fine. You just go walk there or take the tram.
yeah,
That's why I hate Miami.
yeah.
Because this is a complete opposite. It's just like you need to be very rich, stay here all day, spend all this money on food because there's nothing else around the track besides like residential buildings, which hates you guys anyway. And we're so far from actual Miami. You can't Uber here because we're so exclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but then
There's
you're dropped
no
off outside
way.
the track. There's no like
Yeah.
Uber drop-off pickup area. It's just the
There's also
worst.
no way to like dip
There's no
out of the
shuttle.
track and come back in. So, yeah, there's a lot of the dramas.
F1 marketing has always been based on elitism and the superhero aspect. No, and I get that. But I think it's just missing a lot of.
It misses the depth and various ways that people relate to the sport.
Yeah.
Because I I don't come from a wealthy background. This stuff does not relate to me. This stuff, it's been cool to be in the F1 paddock and it's been cool to do the hospitality stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have been blessed enough to do those kinds of things. I would prefer hanging out with my friends in general admission. Um, like if I'm going to experience the race as a fan, not as an employee, but as a fan, I want to be like, I want to show up to Canada at fucking 5 a.m. I want to sit outside the gates and drink mimosas and go run for a general admission spot. And that's the stuff that we don't talk about very much. And that's stuff where,
It's where the Indy
I mean,
500 thrives. 100%.
yes,
That's why
exactly.
people who don't even like IndyCar go to the Indy 500.
Exactly. IndyCar in the Indy 500 is fun because I don't know, you show up and there's so many passionate people. The tickets are very affordable, whether like even if you are in hospitality, all things considered. Um, everyone like if you sit down in the Pagoda Plaza and like watch the world wake up in the morning, there's a variety of people that are there doing different things with different income levels. You can buy food at the track or you can bring
Bring it
your own
in.
cooler in. You know, you can buy shirts at the track or you can DIY it and it's okay. And you don't have to worry about like IP infringement because Formula One's mad you put Oscar Piastri on a t-shirt. Um,
Yeah, people are giving away pins, friendship
there's
bracelets. People
there's
giving away their beers
meetups.
and waters. It's so great. People are
Yeah,
just so nice, and especially I was in Grandstand A, right off the first turn. It was just so fun. Everyone was so chill.
yeah.
They're like, "Do you need anything? Like, are you okay? Like, does everyone got enough water? Blah blah blah." Like, it's
hmm
just everyone's so friendly and nice and just chill.
Like my friends and I, when we're there, we always do a meetup in the morning. And I have one friend who brings, oh God, what is it called?
Something cow, right?
Spotted cow. Brings
Yeah.
spotted cow and like a ton of it. So you can, if you get there, you can have some of that. I have one friend who goes to Costco and buys a cake and brings a whole ass cake in. And like also brings napkins and cutlery so you can enjoy it without having to like eat out of it with everyone else. I've had friends who like give out stickers or like trade stuff. I've gotten the bracelets before, I've gotten the
What the fuck?
pins.
Yeah.
It's you just hang out and chill and it's a very nice time. And I think even the Formula One races when I like went as a fan, were all that community aspect, I think was the underrated part. I went to Austria and did not speak a lick of German and made best friends with the Austrians in the campground and had a good old time. And that's the stuff like you just don't ever see that um getting kind of promoted. And we should. Poor Ash. She's just gone now. She's just gone. Guys, got any questions? Anything I can answer? Brad says, I went to Spa in 2013 and the Belgian people were amazing. Spent a week in a small village close to the track. I would love, Spa's one of the top ones on my list. I wanted to go to the Nürburgring when that used to be on the calendar, but I planned my international trip the year that they dropped it. So then I didn't get to go.
Sorry, my computer is camera said it's a little hot.
Oh,
Is we've been yapping so long. My camera's like, please,
roasty toasty.
roasty toasty. Spa also has pretty good tickets. Yes, I agree. Spa has pretty cheap tickets. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I love the sport, and I get it. You got to advertise in one way to make it desirable, because then people want to be
Yeah.
you or be there, and you create that sense of scarcity and like, oh, you're missing
Yeah.
out. I get it.
I don't know.
I
I
just hate
feel
it.
that way. I feel that way about like the people who camp in the campgrounds and go to general admission. Like, I feel like you can get enough content out of that. I certainly felt like I could. I have memories that will last me a lifetime because I camped at two racetracks. It was just the stuff that's like, I don't know. That to me is the thing because money can't buy that experience.
Yeah.
You can buy a $15,000 paddock pass and you'll have the same experience as every other person who spent $15,000 to buy a paddock pass. But if you're like what you do when you're in the campground in general admission is what you make of it. And if you go there with the intention of having fun and having a good time and making friends with people, I'm not a fucking social person. And when I went to Austria and camped, I was 19 years old and didn't know how to have a conversation. And I had a blast because I didn't have to talk to anyone because none of them spoke my language. But like it was fun because like I don't know, they're fellas who they built their own bar,
Oh, that's
hand
cool.
assembled, had their own alcohol. We figured out through translation. Um, I'm not from Massachusetts, but
No,
my best friend was.
neither of us
So
are.
my friend my friend Remy and I traveled together all the time when I was in my formative years, learning how to speak to people.
So for Japan this weekend, um,
Yes.
some storylines that I'm just trying to pick up are obviously McLaren.
Hmm.
Who are they picking? I know Lando Norris is 10 points ahead of Oscar Piastri, but it's still a
Yep.
pretty close call.
Hmm.
So when it comes to push comes to shove, and Oscar says, "I'm no number two driver." What is McLaren gonna do? And who's just are they just gonna race each other, knock each other out? I'm
Yeah.
excited to see that, especially for
If they
the car
throw
should be good.
papaya rules out at
Ugh,
this point in the
boo.
season, I am going to riot.
Agreed. The car should be great in McLaren. I think we're going to see some really cool stuff from them. Ferrari, can they get more out of the car? Something I've talked about in my YouTube videos, post race stuff. Especially with another high downforce setup track, will they be disqualified again? Is someone going to be
Yeah, I
bad? Is someone
know.
going to be bad in math and accidentally disqualify both Ferraris again? Hopefully they don't go the other way and play it too safe, where they like the cars are
Yeah.
just a little bit not too quote unquote. I say heavy, but like by kilograms compared to others. So as you see, Sainz and Leclerc were P3, P4 last year. So the Ferrari did well in Suzuka
Hmm.
as well. Mercedes, can they keep being perfect and boring? Something I'm looking forward to see if Antonelli, without floor damage, can kind of keep up with George Russell right behind him. And he says he feels really lucky to be working with
Hmm.
Bono, which is it was kind of
That's
sweet.
cute.
It was really cute. He's just like a little kid. He's like, oh
Aw.
my god, this guy's so nice. He's my race engineer.
See, this is the thing. You know what, Liam Lawson, he can have his ego and he can have, but I love it when the drivers come in and they're like, I'm so happy to be here and I get to work with all these people and like I'm at a great team and I'm working with my heroes. This is fucking cool.
Yeah, he's truly a little guy.
He's just a
TM.
little guy.
Will Alonso. Will Alonso finally finish a race? Is my next question.
No.
Or no, can Alpine do a little bit better, and can Haas continue gazoo maxing? Is all what I'm looking for this week. I'm excited for
What do
McLaren.
you? I am too. I'm excited to see what they can do this season. I like the intimation we currently have that there will be a battle between its two drivers because at Red Bull we haven't had that the last few years, and
Yeah,
at
Mercedes.
Mercedes we didn't really have that after Nico Rosberg left the team.
I'm waiting.
Um, you're not crazy for still believing in Fernando Alonso. You can do
Yeah,
whatever you want. Be delusional.
you see how well
I
Stroll's doing based on just strategy.
Yeah.
Imagine Fernando Alonso
Yeah, imagine if he finishes the race, dude.
Imagine he finishes a race.
Where do you think someone asked, I don't remember who, where do you think Yuki's going to qualify? Do you think he's going to make it out of Q1?
I think I'll make it a Q1.
I think he's going to go out in Q2.
Yeah, I'll do that with the racing for the V carbs. Yeah, Q2.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna do
I,
worse than Liam Lawson. I just don't think he's gonna do. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's gonna win the race." I'm like, "All right,
yeah.
everyone, let's
Yeah.
temper
I think
expectations
I
here."
think that's a little bit
With
much.
the Red Bull, yeah, I think even Yuki will struggle with the real Red Bull car. I think he'll do better than
Yeah.
Liam. Obviously, I mean, you can't do worse than last. I guess 'cause that's an easy prediction to say. But I also don't think it's going to be some phenomenon where it's like, oh wow, this clicked.
Yeah.
This was the next Max Verstappen. We were just racist the entire time. Um, I do think a solid midfield. I think
I think so. I think that'd
P11.
be,
I'll give him like a P12.
I'm going to say 13, lucky number 13.
Ooh, interesting.
Yep.
The bar is hell. We're saying Yuki
That's
will
absolutely
qualify
correct.
Max with the crowd being worth a couple tenths. That's fun.
That would be cute.
If he gets points, I'll be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. Someone mentioned like a P11. At most P10 for me. There's no way.
Yeah. There's a lot of very good cars. this year. There's a lot of very competitive cars.
He mentioned
Maybe if Mercedes shows up with a 2 foot gap to the ground because they don't want to wear out their planks, then he'll have a better shot.
he mentioned he had really good times, but in the sim, or he liked the car, but in the sim, and I thought that was a funny quote. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be vastly different. So hopefully in practice he does well and doesn't damage the car because they have to rebuild it. That's also sucking for them.
Yeah.
This is like the third car to
Yeah,
rebuild. So we'll see from there. I'd be shocked
I
if he
would
gets
like,
podium. Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to eat
yeah,
my words. Like I love you. Like I liked his attitude. I think he's also just happy to be there and he loves racing. I think he has a good backing from Honda. I think he can race well. I hear him talk on the radio. Like okay, another thing is that Racing Bulls V Carb, it has been shit at strategy for the past 2 years.
forever.
Forever. That's a good point. Forever. And it's really frustrating that Yuki Tsunoda keeps getting gypped from a decent race finish
Don't
because
say
they
that.
keep.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Keeps getting messed up from a decent race finish, um, uh, because of what they say. And he'll argue on the radio and being like, "Hey, no, I don't want to do this. I'm doing this," and they're like, "Oh, okay." So
Yeah.
it'll be very
I think
interesting.
he's got a better sense of what he wants to do, which is good. He has more confidence. So there is at
That's what I
least
hope this kind of gives him.
that.
So
Yeah.
I'm not expecting points. If he does get points, great. If he somehow podiums, that's even better. Haven't eaten my words, but I'm going to temper my expectations here.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Should we get into the Steves?
Oh yeah, and really quickly, we do have. Oh, that's a good point. We gotta talk about our NASCAR Steves.
Yeah. Be a quick one. Steve Phelps has been made commissioner of NASCAR. This is a role that was created for him, basically. This has never existed before. He has been president of NASCAR since 2018, but is now being promoted to this all-seeing eye. So his responsibilities at this point will be to oversee NASCAR, to oversee NASCAR's owned and operated tracks, to oversee IMSA, and to aim for more international growth. Steve O'Donnell is being promoted to the president of NASCAR, who that was what Steve Phelps previously was. So the Steves are in control.
The Steves.
Steves everywhere you look at NASCAR. What could this mean for things going forward? We could perhaps see IMSA get NASCARified. So my exactly the first thing I said to Chris was, "Oh my God, green, white checkers and IMSA."
No.
I know that would be awful, but um,
Steve
who
wouldn't.
knows? Is it Steve? No.
Steve, stop.
Um, this also could potentially mean that we have more races abroad, since international growth was specifically called out in the announcement. I know that there are some shaky negotiations regarding Mexico at the moment. A lot of rumors about perhaps the complications of that race given the political climate in the United States at the moment and the difficulty crossing the border. But maybe we'll see some more in Canada or elsewhere. Maybe some
charters,
IMSA races abroad. IMSA charters, Jesus Christ.
No.
This also kind of blurs the lines between the NASCAR loves to say it isn't like stick and ball sports. And it has kind of harped on that. It said that charters are not like franchises because we're not like stick and ball sports.
Yeah.
And now they have a commissioner like many other stick and ball sports,
Yep.
which I find very funny. I wanted to ask you this because I don't know. What is the role of a commissioner in like any other sport?
I'm sorry, I'm pausing because it's just like, how do I make this like motorsports?
Yeah.
But it's just weird because like MLB has all these teams,
Mhm.
NFL has all these teams. It's just negotiating and but everyone does sit in a room and kind of like talk about this stuff. And it's like similar to, Patrick says similar to the president of the FIA in a way where
that makes sense.
it's not one man has all the power, but he's definitely the
guy who's leading the conversation.
the face and leading the conversation of
Got
rule changes, votes, making sure everyone's happy, gets what they want. It is interesting to see when there's like certain commissioners at certain games, and I'm like, why'd you pick this game out of all games to attend? Interesting. We're not like stick and ball sports, but we add playoffs and add a commissioner. Helps keep teams in check and help with business shit. The business shit is probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they all keep teams in check. I mean, currently there's a whole NFL meeting was in West Palm Beach or Palm Beach, whatever, in Florida, about the tush push from the Eagles, about banning that and stuff. And then,
What the fuck is a tush push?
oh, it's like bump draft. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Was it legit pushing someone's booty?
it's when, well, they kind of push, they all like kind of group up and shove each other, especially when you're on like the 1 yard line trying to get a like you're just
Got
trying,
it. You're
or
just
like you're
trying to shove them
trying to
into
get
the
the
thing.
down. You're trying to just shove your ball and your team into
Got
like
it.
the next
Got it. You're
down
just
into
brute forcing your way in there.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. So we
Got
have
it.
some teams complaining about the tush push because they can't fight against it, and then the
Mm,
commissioners basically helping with the debates and the discussions and the
gotcha.
what's going on here, and that's basically what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
sounds like a rugby scrum. Oh, that's a great point. That's why it's called. Sometimes people call it American rugby instead of football because football's with your foot.
Yeah.
The end.
And with this NASCAR commissioner situation, I've seen people discussing that this could have an impact on the 2311 and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit. Um, it could nullify the arguments of that lawsuit, perhaps, because this is showing that NASCAR is making a greater step toward like working with teams, although as my husband has been saying, they've kind of been operating in this fashion already for a year.
Mhm.
So they just haven't had the official titles. So I don't know if the official titling is going to make some sort of difference here. I don't know if it's going to double down on their whole situation. As he says, you're more than welcome to compete in our main competitor series, Formula One. So we'll see. We'll see how that all
I
goes.
feel
But
like
it
this just
is,
helps 2311 in their argument. Be like, where else are we
yeah,
gonna go? Because we're not gonna do
yeah,
Formula One because that's open wheel racing, and that's not what we want to do. But now you own IMSA and you're doing a commissioner kind of thing. Like this is so
yeah,
weird.
yeah. So it's a storyline of like big deal could become an even bigger deal. It could have implications in the future. We don't really know yet, because this is fresh off the presses. So just an interesting little NASCAR tidbit for you guys to chew on.
Nom 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 nom. Elizabeth, anything to plug in for this
Delicious.
week?
I have a Deadly Passions Terrible Joys episode that released this morning about the second part of my two-part series on the FIA versus a consortium of teams that both battled for control of Formula One during the 70s and 80s. This is the summation of it. So good stuff. Check out planetf1.com. I have a whole bunch of features that are coming up. I've got a
Ooh.
story on I got a list of pranks today for the April Fool's Day. I've got there were the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix almost didn't happen, and I wrote about what that kind of meant and
I
why
like
that
that.
didn't happen. It's the
It's
Bernie
cool.
Ecclestone, that's why.
Classic.
Um, a lot of lists, a lot of features. I've been in like feature mode, which has been nice because there's not a race, so I don't have to do the new stuff. So all of those things, check those out.
Check it out. What's it all about? Thank you everyone for hanging out. Elizabeth and I will have to film very quickly this this little bit that I found online that I asked Chap to talk about to double check my work. So please hold. This is strictly for social media bits, but you guys can play along if you'd like.
Social.
Social. Otherwise, if you have to leave, we completely understand. I'll be doing my race watch along for Formula One later this weekend if you guys want to join. Or not. Whatever you want to do. Or here. Join the Discord. Come hang out with us. Otherwise, Elizabeth,
Yes.
are you ready?
Yes.
Are you prepared for this question that you kind of already know the premise of?
Yes.
That you might have thought about already? Elizabeth, can you please name me the 5 ways a driver can win a Formula One race? And I don't mean like strategy, having good tires. I mean, how do you procedurally, officially win a Formula One race?
You finish first.
So grabbing the checkered flag.
Yeah, take the checkered flag. You finished second, but someone else got DQ'd.
Nice. Yes.
Um, I didn't think about this beforehand. I wanted to come in. I wanted to raw dog this bad boy. You finished third, but the other two guys got disqualified.
Disqualification is 1. That's a post
Disqualification
race.
is one. Okay. So there's more ways. You were in the lead when the race was red flagged or timed out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Red flag is one, yeah. Well, red flag is separate than,
Oh, is timed out its own thing?
well, yellow.
Yellow?
Yeah, we finish under yellow flag. Safety
Oh,
car.
got it. There's under yellow under safety car. So that's four?
Mm-hmm. There's one
Just
more.
one more?
There's theoretically
Ooh.
6 that Chap like to make sure, but these are the ways that have happened
Ways that it happened.
already.
I'm confused. I don't know.
So we've done checkered
Maybe.
flag, disqualification,
Uh-huh.
finish under
Uh-huh.
red, finish under yellow.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you want a hint.
Give me a hint. Hint me.
So it's a round disqualification, but disqualification happens post race. What can they get?
Oh, time penalty in the race?
Time penalty in the race.
Nice. What's the sixth one?
So our producer would like to say lawsuit, a la Felipe Massa.
Okay,
And
yeah, that's a good one.
I was like, yeah, that's a good one, I guess. But like that hasn't happened yet. I guess it could happen if he wins the lawsuit. You can theoretically win.
It's true.
Win
It's
the
true.
F1 race. So that's it. Theoretically, there's
fun
a
one.
lot more ways. Yeah, but you can get Michael Massey. Yeah, that's like during. Like we're not talking about on track battles. We're not talking about strategy, right? We're not talking about any of that stuff.
How do
Well,
you
there's-
win a race?
Yeah, there's
you
like
win the race.
There's like 7 ways to reach first base. There's 5 ways to win a race. And then we're going from
Nice.
6 asterisks if you want to count the lawsuit.
I think we should have more lawsuits to determine winners. I think we should just tie the courts up with that as much as we humanly can.
Yeah, theoretically, there could be an infinite amount of ways. I could murder the person at first before they finish first. Like, sure, but like we're not counting that.
I'm rocketing this guy off the track.
Yeah.
There's the eighth way. Jack Brabham pushed his car to win a championship. I guess it wasn't win a race, but pushed his car to a championship win.
Yeah, interesting from the YouTube. Simon goes, encyclopedic knowledge of open wheel racing in the 1970s, question mark. Elizabeth, would you like to state how much you know about racing in the 1970s?
It's my whole thing. I'll move my thing. I got my Francois Sever Jackie Stewart poster above my head in my recording zone. I got really into it because of Rush and have not stopped researching it because it is why Formula One is the way it is.
If you want to talk to Elizabeth about it, feel free to follow her on her socials.
I could talk to you about Patrick Dupai breaking both his legs, losing his Tyrrell drive. I can talk to you about how Francois Sever didn't want to be Jody Scheckter's teammate because Jody Scheckter hit him in Canada and then he punched Jody Scheckter in the helmet and hurt his wrist.
Qualifying first in Monaco is another way to win an F1 race.
That's a really good one.
But like technically, you could pass in Monaco if your car DNFs. That's the thing.
Good.
Yeah, DNF and DNS doesn't start because then you're still racing to finish first. Like if you pass someone, it's the same thing as like if they stopped on had an incident on the track. So incidents don't count. We're talking about procedural rulebook ways. You grab the checkered flag if that happens. So that's you winning a race.
Someone says, can we talk about bringing back the Tyrrell six-wheelers? I talk about that in my episode of Deadly Passions, Terrible Joystick. I think Williams was developing a six-wheel car, and the FIA decided to ban it out of nowhere. So we almost had another one, and then the FIA said, no way, Jose. Does a race that cannot be held count as a red flag? It just doesn't happen. There is no result.
Easy way to lose a race this year is to drive a Ferrari. Sad.
Ayo.
Ayo. All right, chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, whether you're on the Twitch or the YouTube. Elizabeth and I will be back next week to talk about the Japanese Grand Prix in Darlington. I was going to say whatever NASCAR race is happening because there's so many of them, but
the
it's just really
throwback.
The throwback. You might see a bunch of paint schemes because it's throwback race week at Darlington. So check that out if you're into NASCARs and the history and such. Otherwise, no IndyCar race. I'm sure there's a bunch of other racing that I'm missing out on. Let me check the Discord because we always have general schedule. NASCAR. Okay. Oh, there's a lot. Farley Challenge Japan. Oh, European Le Mans Series at Barcelona. Catalunya. Le Mans Cup. Liger European Series. Sorry, I just had to. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm doing it. Karting Championships. AMA Supercross. Modifieds. Formula Drift. Porsche Endurance North America. Oh, they're at Sonoma. Porsche Sprint North America. Porsche Sprint USA West. Nice. GT World Challenge Australia. Oh yeah, a lot of racing. If you guys like it, it's on this weekend. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you follow Elizabeth on the link that is provided in the link tree and see her articles at Planet F1. I'll be back here for a race watch along. Remember, support local, including your racetracks. Don't get fooled by April Fools today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Drink
Don't
water.
be a fool.
Take your meds. Have a nice day. Touch some grass.
Yeah.
Anything else, Elizabeth?
Pet a cat.
If you can, unless you're allergic. I'm allergic.
Take a Zyrtec, pet a cat.
Don't get murdered by pollen later.
Oh God. I went to the grocery store yesterday and I like washed with the windshield wipers on my car and the water that came off was yellow because of the layer of pollen on it. It was so gross. There was a bunch of birds pooped on the back window too.
What do you mean? Oh my God! Sorry, please. YouTube wants your link. I'm giving it to them. Why is the
Link,
link
link,
tree
link, link,
broken?
link.
Make sure you can copy and paste it. I think from the chat. I think that's the big thing you're gonna have to do with the YouTubes.
YouTube.
Cool fam. High pollen count was between 50 to
Bye.